Hello and welcome developers. My name is Shay and this is another episode of Shay Develops. Today we're going to be talking about collections and sorting those collections. We're going to start off small by just creating a couple of lists, and then we are going to move on and create our own custom objects, and then we're going to sort those custom objects. So a collection is nothing more than a group of objects. You can think of it like a bag that you're putting stuff in, and the collection itself is the bag, and it's just holding the objects, and it knows nothing about the objects that it's holding. It just holds them. All right. So in order to get started, though, like I said, we're going to create a couple of lists. So first thing we're going to do is create a linked list. So we can go ahead and just use the word list, and it's going to be holding a type string. We'll call it string list equals new, and we're going to do a linked list first. And it'll be type string. That's not necessarily necessary. We're going to go put that anyway. And we're going to start adding stuff to our string list. Dot add. We'll do item 1. And we're just going to put in just a bunch of just random stuff in here. Apples. And pineapple for the last one. Okay. And it's actually really easy to sort just a basic list. So if we were to output it right now, we could just do a for each. Oh, not that kind of for each. And just an iteration loop. And just do string list dot size. And then output whatever value that we're currently on in the for loop. Go ahead and output and run this. Build just for a second, and we'll see that it's outputting the items item 1 then the same way that they're being stored into our list. But now say we want to sort these items, right, and like in alphabetical order. We could do collections. You notice with lists and linked lists, but also collections, IntelliJ automatically imported the java.util.collections API for me to use. So we'll just do collections.sort and just pass it string list. And then now you'll notice once we update this, it's going to sort them based off of their alphabetical values. So let's run this again. And see, now we have apples, cars, item 1, pineapple, and zebra. And that's also the same way. So if we were to change this to an array list, and then run this again, it works the exact same way. Now, once you start getting and creating your own classes and then trying to sort your own classes, that's where this won't necessarily work in the exact same way that you're going to think about it or think about. Now, so we're going to go ahead and create an external class. We're going to talk a little bit more though about collections. So you notice how we created these this list and then this array list and stuff like that. That's part of the collections framework that allows us to have access to these subclasses of a collection, because a collection doesn't care about a lot of things. Like, it doesn't care if there's duplicate items. It doesn't care if there's null items. But some of these sub interfaces, because collection is an interface, some of these sub interfaces like lists and array lists and linked lists and maps and stuff like that, may care about duplicate items and null elements, null items within the list that you're trying to import. That's just something to keep in mind, though, whenever you're messing with these collections. If you have something that's just null, see right here, we're getting an error because it doesn't like the fact that we have a null value in our string list that we're trying to add. So just keep that in mind. Just a little side note, just in case. But now let's go ahead and create our class. Let's just do a class of, we'll say, video games. So video game class, and then we want to set up all of our methods and all of our fields and stuff. So private string name, private string genre, and I think that's all we're going to do for now. Just the name and the genre. Build out our constructor, and then our getters. And we're going to we haven't built that yet, so ignore that. We are going to override our toString function to output some information. And if you guys watch my overriding video on how to override methods and stuff, go check that out if you're not really comfortable with what I'm doing here. But this is basically, because whenever you're outputting data like this, you're getting access to the toString method. So what it's doing is it's going to first just the string right here. But if it was to output the reference to the actual object rather than the data that's in the object, then that's where you would want to override this information. So I'm just doing it right now just in case we have an issue with it later, but we may not. All right, so now that that's done, we're going to want to we're going to create a list of video games and then output them. So I'm going to go ahead and just comment all that out. We're going to create a new list where we're going to hold video game data. We'll call it VG list equals new, and this will be a linked list. All right, now our video game list, we need to create some video games. So we've got a video game. We'll just call it VG1 equals new video game, and then we have to pass it a name and a genre. So we could start out with maybe some shooter games like Call of Duty, and it is a genre of type shooter. And I know it's like a first-person shooter and it's rather than like a third-person or something like that, but we're going to be pretty basic with our genres just to show you guys exactly what is going to happen. So we're going to create a few of these. So a new video game, Halo. It's also a shooter. And then we'll do Fortnite, and that is it's a battle royale. We'll do PUBG, which is another battle royale. And then we could do Minecraft, We'll just say that's a sandbox game. And then we can do World of Warcraft. It's an MMORPG. Let's just add a few more here, because I want there to be quite a few whenever we go to start testing this stuff and start sorting it. Put in Apex Legends. That's a battle royale. Let's see here. What else could I put in? Zelda. That is an action adventure game. Let's see here. Destiny. We're just going to call that a shooter, even though it's definitely got a lot more to it than just that. Destiny, and then one more. We'll say Curse of the Dead God, something a lot longer. And that is a, we'll call it a roguelite. Alright, so now that we have these games set up, we have 10 of them, we need to add them to our list. So it'd be VG list.add and be VG1, and then we're going to go all the way down to VG10. This is kind of an inefficient way to add these, but it gets the job done, and it gets the job done quickly, right? 9 and 10. And now if we wanted to output these, we could just create a for loop. VG list.size, just like we did earlier. And then output the VG list dot get I. And we run that, and it should output all the games. See, now we're actually getting access to our toString method right here, which then I'm going to modify because I don't need any of that. We'll just leave it like so. Okay. And we'll get rid of that right there. There we go. So we'll run that one more time. And you know what? I'm going to get rid of this genre as well. We don't necessarily need that. Instead, we'll just have a nice space in between with a hyphen. Okay. So now we're doing that. Let's go ahead and try to sort our collection. So we can do collections.sort, and then we pass it the VG list, but it's not working, right? We're getting this error here because it required type of this, and we're passing it required type of video game. So that means it's not going to it's not going to work. So if we try and run this, we're just going to get an error. So this is no suitable method found for sort, because like I said, it's because there's some extra stuff that we have to do in order to get the sort to work for for your custom classes and stuff. So go back up here into the video game, and there's two ways that we could sort. One of them is a comparable, and the other one is a comparator. Now, there's some differences here that you need to understand. A comparator is capable of comparing two different objects. You're not gonna you pass it two objects, it compares the two objects, and then it gives you a result. Where comparable, you can only compare one object to the current object that you're running comparable within. So we're going to start with comparable. So to do that, since comparable and comparator, they're interfaces, and if you haven't watched my interfaces video and this doesn't make any sense to you, go ahead and go back and watch that and come back to this video. But we're going to implement comparable, and then now see we get this error here because we need to do something else. So it tells us here, class video game must either be declared abstract or implement an abstract method of compare to in comparable. But we need to do one more thing. We need to typecast it and tell it that we want to compare video games. We don't want just to compare any old object, because if we tell it we can compare any old object, whenever we go to write our compare to function, it's not going to be the way we want it. All right, so let's go ahead and we can implement the method there, and it says we need to implement compare to. So we hit OK, and here we go. Now we have overridden our compare to function, and we can run it, and this time it should work, but it's not going to actually do anything. It didn't, you can see it didn't sort anything. That's just the way that we put them in. Call of Duty, Halo, all that stuff. So what we could do is we compare it, or we can sort it by the name. So we could do this dot name dot compare to ignore case, because maybe somebody put in Halo with the capital H and somebody else put it in with the lowercase h, but it's still the same game. So we want to compare it via the ignore case. So then we're going to compare the video game dot get name, and then this is going to return a 0, a -1, or a 1, depending on if it's the same, if it's lower or higher also within the sorted list. So now once we run this, we should see something different right here. Oh, and we actually don't. I wonder why that is. Well, let's take a look back here at our main. And VG sort list. And bear with me just one moment here. Oh, that my mistake. This should be below the collections.sort. So all this time I've been showing you guys something that doesn't make much sense. Okay, so we're gonna actually comment this out for just a moment and just remove this right here for just a moment, and then now we're going to, and you see that we're back to the same error because we cannot output through our for loop. So sorry about that long little delay there. Let's go ahead and put this back to where it was and uncomment this again. Now we can go back to main, and we'll see that our error is now gone. And now when we run this, it's going to use this compare to function, because that's what it's using whenever it's actually you're doing it without creating your custom class. It's going into its compare to function and then comparing based off of the string value that the compare to function works with. So now we're going to run this. And there we go. Now we see we got Apex, Call of Duty, Curse of the Dead Gods, Destiny, Fortnite, Halo, Minecraft, PUBG, World of Warcraft, and Zelda, all in alphabetical order. Now you could sort this in reverse order. You'd be doing collections.reverse order. Just that right there, just comma, and then collections.reverse order. Run this again. And we should see Zelda, World of Warcraft, PUBG, and that we do. Boom. That's how you would sort in reverse order. You could also do that with your standard list as well. But we're just going to we're going to keep with the regular sorting as of right now. Okay, so that's all good. And if you wanted to say sort by genre, you could do that as well. Be this, that, genre. And this get genre. And now once we go back here and run it again, you can see now we got Zelda at the top, which is an action adventure. Then we have our battle royales, Fortnite, PUBG, Apex. But you'll notice that these are not in any kind of order, which makes sense. We didn't tell it to put the names in any kind of order. We just tell it to put these in an order. So what if we wanted to put them in an order within their genre? Well, that's where a comparator is going to be used. So in order to do that, there's a couple different ways that we could do it. One is creating a static anonymous function within our video game class right here. And I haven't talked about that in any of my videos, so we can go ahead and do that real quick. So basically, we'll just do static final comparator, and then pass it video game, and then we'll say genre order equals new comparator, and you'll notice that it's automatically overridden and created me a public and compare method within this anonymous class. So this piece right here, this is an anonymous class that you can run without actually having to implement a video game class because of this static right here. But you can't override it though once you've done that because of the final keyword. Go back and watch my videos on those if you're a bit confused on how that works. So if we wanted to compare the video games, which I'm going to rename these VG1 and VG2, if we wanted to compare two separate compare now, like I said, the video games for both a genre and name, we could do something like this, which this will sort the genre. So we can actually just come down here, copy this, instead of this, we'll just do VG1 so VG2. And then now whenever we come down here to the sort list, we can pass how we want this to be sorted by using video game dot genre order, and this will now sort by the genre of the game again. So again, we have action, adventure, battle royale, MMO, and all so forth and so on. But now that still doesn't fix out. Okay, great. I'm sorting it by genre, but I want to sort it by genre then name, or by name then genre. But really, you'd probably want to do this by genre and then name. So we could do then comparing, right? And then we could then ask it to, okay, well, now we want it to compare by the name. So how are we going to do that? Well, we can create another anonymous class, or we can create a standard class, and we can call it name order. Make that a little bigger. It's also going to implement comparable and pass it video game, or make sure that it's of type video game. And then we're going to fix this by overriding the compare to method, right? Oh, I'm sorry. It's not going to be comparable. It's going to be the comparator. So we'll change that. But everything else is going to be the same. We'll just erase this and re-implement what we need to. So that way we're comparing both video games to each other. So we'll go ahead and update this to VG1 and VG2. And then now we could do return VG1.getName, compare to ignore case VG2.getName. And again, that's going to return based off of what value, or return to 0, 1, or -1 based off of where it sits in the list. So now we can go back here down to main. And now we see we have this video game genre order, and then comparing. So after it compares the genre, it's going to then compare new, and we're going to instantiate a new version of the name order class. So basically, it's just like if you were instantiating a class where you're going to put data into, except we're not going to put any data into it. All we have to do is put new name order. And now once we run this, we should get a slightly different result. So now we have Zelda still at the top because we're sorting by genre first. So that's action adventure. And then Battle Royale would be the next as far as the genre type. But now you see we have Apex Legends, Fortnite, and PUBG. Those are now in alphabetical order based on the genre. And then you can stack these comparators as many as you want, and also you can see here that I'm using this one, which I've written as an autonomous class within the video game class itself. I'm using it with a class, or with a standard class that I've written outside of the video game, but still implements the comparator operator. So hopefully you guys can understand that. It wasn't too far above your head, but I wanted to show you guys, like I said, how to sort via just a standard Java class like linked list or an array list or whatever, and then sort versus your custom classes based on however you would want it. So something else I might be able to show you is, say we had, this video game had something like private int hours played, and then we needed to pass it this dot hours played equals hours played. Need to pass that here. There we go. And come back to our main, and then now we have to fix all of these. So say this one was like 20. This one was like 1500. This one was like 200. I'm just putting some random values in here. This one's 560. This one's 12. This one's 97, 120. You get the idea. Just finish them off here. All right, so now that we have all these guys, I said, for, with this hours played, we could come down here and sort, if we wanted to. We could compare based off of how many hours it played and then sort by that. So if it was, it could be return this dot hours played minus video game dot, oh, we need to write another getter here. Get hours played, there we go. And then get hours played. And now we could sort these games based off, actually let's update this to get the hours played. So we see that sort working, I said, like that as well. So we can go ahead and get rid of all this. Actually, let's just go ahead and just comment it out. And now we're going to sort the video game list by the hours played. And you can see that right here. We got 12, 20, 120, 200, 200, 210, 560, 564, 897, and 1500. And if we wanted to reverse the order, again, that's all we have to do. And now we've reversed the order of our sort. Alright, so guys, this is going to be the end of my video. I really hope that you guys have learned something today. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification icon, because I am pumping out as many videos as I possibly can to help you guys, like I said, learn and educate yourselves on the power of coding and what you can do with it, and hopefully get a better job or whatever it is that you're trying to do. But as I said, hit that. Leave me a comment though, as far as what you guys are working on, what you're trying to learn, as a Java related, or I've been thinking about coming up with some videos talking about my jobs that I've had as a web developer. Some good situations, bad situations, whatever the case, and anything else that you guys might be interesting as far as coding. But I will be sticking to this as far as coding. I will be sticking to the Java language for now. We may move on to Python or some other things in the future, but I feel like Java still has a very strong influence out in the development community, just because it's used in so many places, and there are a lot of jobs out there looking for Java developers. Alright, but until the next time, guys, y'all are amazing. I will see you in my next video coming up very soon. Alright, y'all take care, and peace.